with me. What? Hit him with me. Thank you to our Filer patrons, Red Wolf 4765, Midnight Gemlord, and Sean. And a very big thank you to our $25 patron, Alex Ice Rose. Now, we have this breakdown / review of chapter 215 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Please remember to leave your own on the chapter in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, use that little notification bell to miss out on any videos that come with the channel. Also, I do a Patreon down below. Use both as low as $1 a month to get things like early videos, exclusive content, and more. You can also now become a member to the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks include the live reaction to this very chapter. Now, let's hop into chapter 215. What's up, guys? I'm Pencil here, and here we are to chapter 215 of Jujutsu Kaisen, which is known as Fearsome, I'm Not Saying That, Part 7. And golly gee willikers, fellas. Golly gee willikers. You know, I feel like it should be expected. I feel like somewhere within me, if you were to like go back in time, back to reality, I probably did think of this at one point, but I can never take credit for it. I can never even begin to imagine. It's no video, I have no proof, but the fact that the most beautiful jumping, the most glorious of jumping, the true Jujutsu Kaisen that we experienced in this chapter was so gosh darn beautiful. I wanted so much more of it. Gege, why would you do us like this? But I know this is just the start of the jump, because the real jump fest has yet to begin. But regardless, let's not waste any more time, and let's hop right into the chapter itself. So we open up, and we do get to see that there's a color page, a color spread page, in fact. Well, not necessarily a spread, but half a spread, kind of a spread. It's a color page. And we see that there's a big old fish, you know, kind of just blubbing through the sky. But, you know, fish usually don't belong in the sky, and even if they did, they don't fly. So obviously something's up here, and this is very likely a curse. But this isn't just any curse. We see that a person from seemingly within the curse is like, hurry up. And we see the man, the myth, the Chad himself, Kenjaku. We went out of our way for you, so take it easy. Have some patience. We're moving quickly. Silence. So, Kenjaku and Uraume are on their way. On their way to where is pretty interesting. Like, where is Kenjaku going? Notably, we know where Uraume is going by the end of the chapter. Obviously, because I don't think we actually have their gender. So, they are literally showing up to go get their big beefy boss boy, or who was their big beefy boss boy, but is now in a 15-year-old body, which I wonder is weird. Like, if I suddenly, then again, he started out as a human, so he went from 2 arms to 4 arms, back to 2 arms, so that's gotta be weird. But regardless, we know where Uraume is going. She's going to go get Sukuna. That, as simple as that, they're on their way to do that. However, where is Kenny going? And why didn't Kenny, like, clean up at least a little bit? Notably, you can still see he still has some battle damage and battle marks from his fighting against Yuki and Choso, and he didn't heal those off. Presumably, it could just be dirt. Like, it's entirely possible bro just didn't take a quick face wash. But come on now, bro. This is the thing you've been waiting for like 1,000 years. Wherever you're going, I'm presumably he's going to, like, because they were at, the last time we saw these two, they were at the Zenin clan, wherever that building was, because that's where the bath is. That's where Uraume and Kenjaku prepared the bath for Sukuna for. But where is Kenny going? Presumably he also has Tengen's body somewhere within the fish, so Tengen can be used as a vessel in order to, you know, become the big old curse McNurse. But I wonder where Kenny's going. Like, presumably maybe he's just avoiding, or like he's trying to get out of Japan, because I'm not sure. Could he resist it? I suppose he would be able to resist the merger, right? Because he's not in the culling games, for one. And 2, he's the one creating the merger. But if it's supposed to naturally just suck up all cursed energy, Kenjaku could become it. But it seems that he's confident enough that he won't. He is wanting to see it anyway. So I'm interested to see where Kenjaku's actually heading up. Because we don't see him at the end of this chapter. He's just gone. He drops Uraume off, and then bada bing, bada boom, he disappears. So we have no idea where Kenny's going, but I'm intrigued to see that. And also, we do get to see that, Itadori Yuji is about that. He's like, you should be the one to try and stifle this misery. And we see Sukuna, and a line that I like even more than before, he says, okay then, come closer. Sukuna is a character who I've definitely had mixed opinions on. You can go all the way back to my Jujutsu Kaisen characters ranking video. It is definitely a bit outdated now. But my general thoughts on Sukuna for a while had kind of been the same. I thought he was a little bit overrated. Sure, he's cool. He has a lot of great moments. But in terms of, like, villainy, I like Mahito more. I liked Kenny more. I like stuff like that more, Ghetto more. I don't know. It just feels like Sukuna was very much in a weird spot now. But now that we're getting him separate from Itadori, we're getting him in his own body. We're getting him with this more active open world participation. He's definitely rising up in the ranks for me even more than he already was. He was already a really, really solid inner demon. Now he's just truly properly his own villain. He's just now him, and I'm super excited to see where he goes from here, especially considering the end of this chapter. However, we do get to see where we left off from in the last chapter. Yuji Itadori did, in fact, slobber knock the taste out of Maguna's mouth. Shout out to Maguna's hair, though. Like, once again, Brody has no gel. he has nothing in there, but he's still, his hair's staying up like that. Something about that fancy finger movement that Sukuna does. It'd be so dumb, but I would love it if, like, in an extra Gege explained that, was like, oh yeah, he's reinforcing his hair with cursed energy. That's why it constantly stays in shape and up, even though there's no gel in it. He's just consistently using cursed energy to reinforce it. However, with this slobber knock, we do see that even though Yuji is pushing through all the damage he takes, he did just casually walk through cleave. Not casually, but he walked through cleave. It is actually doing numbers to him. He is huffing and puffing a bit. But I can't blame him. Like, even with what Sukuna says here, because as he goes on to note, my cursed energy output is fluctuating. At its lowest, it's under 10%. But my physical movement seems to be fine. So obviously, like, 15 finger Sukuna at most, especially against Itadori, who I would say at this point is just Megami's best friend. It makes sense that he would hit, like, the lowest of below 10%. Let's just say 9%. It was 15 fingers Sukuna that presumably transferred all of his cursed energy into Megami. 1.5 fingers of cleave is still pretty good. Like, that's still a pretty solid feat to be able to just casually tank that. Though the interesting statement here for me is the fact that Sukuna says his physical movement seems to be fine. I'm not sure if that applies to his output, because notably we get all the way back in the Sendai fight that your output can correlate directly to your physical strikes as well, right? Because Yuda even knows that, yo, okay, like, this guy's cursed energy output and release is just so explosive. Like, even I, Yuda Okotsu, the Blessed One, I could take damage from this. So I wonder if Sukuna's physicals are lowered in terms of output, but his speed is still the same. Because if his speed is still the same, then that's still crazy for Yuji, right? Because obviously the output wouldn't be as impressive. Dealing with about, like, 1.5 fingers of Sukuna isn't the craziest. It's crazy for Itadori on his own, obviously, but still, it isn't absolutely bonkers. It isn't totally wild. But if he's able to keep up with, like, full 15 fingers Sukuna, admittedly in a weaker vessel, like, physically, there's no doubt about it, Yuji is the stronger vessel in comparison to Megami, but still, 15 fingers worth of reinforcement, it's actually pretty wild that Yuji's able to keep up at all in this chapter. And obviously there's another character who's casually running around with a hypothetical full power 15 finger Sukuna, at least in terms of speed and movement. That may be wild. Like, obviously you could definitely argue Sukuna isn't not going all out here. He may be treating this just like the Maharaga fight where he was definitely suppressed, but even still, that's much better than the previous kind of scaling finger wise that we had for characters that just happened to appear or happen to be correlated to characters that appear within this chapter. I'm just saying. However, we do get to see that the punch actually did do a little bit of damage to Sukuna. You see the fist impression left on his face, but he's still unfazed, unperturbed. He doesn't even bother to heal it off. He's much more interested in seeing what he has access to, even flexing his finger, which is interesting. Very, very interesting. And Megami straight admits, or Maguna straight admits, like, I still need to polish up this form. Whatever. I shouldn't have any trouble slaughtering Itadori. Though, interestingly enough, he failed to. So, that's the weird thing. I presume that Cleave would be stronger than anything Maguna could put out physically, right? But he couldn't. Like, notably, the statement here doesn't seem to make much sense, because he says, I shouldn't have any trouble slaying the kid, but he's having trouble slaying the kid. Like, Itadori did just walk through Cleave with absolutely no problems at all. So, I'm not sure. Maybe, because the thing is, right, that kind of contradicts the statement he just made about his physical movement being fine, because if he's just talking about physical movement, then his output would be lower. But if his output's lower, then he's going to struggle to get rid of Itadori, as he's struggling to do so now. But I guess struggle may be an unoptimal word here. I don't know, it's interesting. Mainly because, like, if you want to argue that this is 15 finger Sukuna in all his physicals on top of Megami's base, then that's still absolutely bonkers. It takes characters like Itadori and, who shows up, Maki. Like, obviously I drew it for this chapter. I love how Maki pops up here. But we'll get into that in a little bit. I still want to talk about the idea that if, and only if, Sukuna has access to all of his physical strength, but his curse energy technique output is lower, then Itadori and Maki are absolutely insane. If it's just the physical speed, Itadori and Maki are still absolutely insane to be able to do this. Like, this alone puts them above so many characters. Like, you gotta realize, if Sukuna still has access to his full speed physicals, remember what 15 Finger Sukuna was doing to Jogo? They could do that to Jogo. Like, straight, casually avoid all his attacks and mollywop him and slam him around with ease. Of course, there's, like, the disparity that you'd have to argue between, like, base Itadori and base Megami, and how much the fingers can compensate for that. But at least in terms of curse energy reinforcement, that is wild. These characters leveled up drastically just off this alone. However, we get to see the woman of the hour herself pops up, and I love how she does it too, right? Because notably, in the panel where she appears, where she catches Sukuna off guard, she's just posted up, like, legit casually too, and not even like posted up like Itadori was, where he was standing there like fist tightened, ready to brawl. No, she straight walks up, hands on her hips, and is like, really, like, can I just have 1 day of peace? I swear, you stupid kids in this stupid calling game, I lost my gosh darn sister for this nonsense. Now I gotta knock the taste out of this dumb bubblegum built like a failed king of like, I love it. I love Sukuna's reaction here, because you can tell he only spotted her out of his peripheral vision. Like, he did not properly notice her, and the fact that that happened scares him, because he has, in the previous panel before she appears for us, he has this big old dumb grin on his face. Like, yeah, should be light work getting rid of Itadori. I'm like that. But when Maki just appears from seemingly nowhere to the king of curses, he is shooketh. And I love that. Maki about that life. I need to make a Maki video. Like 3 months ago. But, however, we do get to see that with her showing up, Itadori acknowledges her too. Zenin senpai. And we see Maki, once again, I'm loving it, all about the business. Hey, sorry I'm late. Give me a brief rundown. And then we get so many good things here. One, Maki being completely calm about the situation. It makes sense. She doesn't necessarily have too deep of an emotional connection to Fushiguro in particular. They are just both Zenin and probably cares a bit about him, but not to the same degree that Itadori does. So it's great to see the contrast of someone who was overwhelmed by emotion at the loss of Megami, in both Hana and Itadori's case, and someone who does know Megami, does care about Megami, but still has the wherewithal to stay calm and focus in a situation like this, who just casually says, sorry I'm late, give me a brief rundown. And we see that Sukuna, now that he's noticed Maki, is like, I don't see any damage from Nue. I guess she isn't easy to take down. That could mean one of two things. One, which is maybe less likely, but one, Maki, like, face tanked a lightning bolt from that Giga Nue. And if that's the case, she took no damage from that. That is bonkers. Because presumably that's before Sukuna's cursed output was dropped. Like, Megami hadn't started fighting back at that point. So, one, Maki just took 15 fingers of Nue lightning to the face and laughed it off, which is an absolutely insane durability feat. Or two, once again going to the fact that this chapter is crazy speed-wise, she just dodged the lightning. And to be fair, but then again, no, it's still crazy, because the lightning wasn't even cloud level. It was on a building, not even a real proper skyscraper, like just a multi-story building. So before the lightning could crash down on Maki, she just casually dodged it all. I may already have to redo Toji versus Kashima, because if that's the feat, then I don't know. Maybe that unavoidable one-hit slammer, McJammer, isn't an option anymore. Once again, I feel like we're going to have to get some Kashima scaling relative to Sukuna or Maguna in this case before I really make any definitive statements on that. But either way, one way or another, it's crazy. Either Maki just casually dodged Nue Lightning from 15 fingers of Sukuna, or she face tanked Nue Lightning from 15 fingers of Sukuna. No matter what, Toji and Maki are getting upscaled drastically. And once again, if they are getting upscaled drastically, every single character, such as Pre-Awakened Gojo, Full Power Yuta, Ryu Ishigori, they're getting upskilled. Like, I don't know. Once again, we're getting into that great final power creep that happens in a lot of series where characters are just getting a little bit bonkers. I won't even lie to you. And we do get to see that Itadori, he's about the business. He doesn't even, like, he doesn't explain the situation at all. He's not like, oh, Sukuna took a finger from me or anything like that. He's like, nah, this guy won't die. even if you go all out. Which, essentially, that lets Maki and the reader know Yuji's done. He's like, forget it. I am going to do everything in my power to rend every bone from your body until there is nothing left. And I'm loving the mentality. Like, legitimately, he's not just sad that his homie's gone. He's so ballistically furious that his homie's gone that he's willing to knock the taste out of his homie's mouth so hard that he wouldn't be able to taste anything anymore. And once again, Gege just reminds us that it's really him and Suzuki-sensei that are just out there. Like, in terms of action in modern manga, new gen, like, is it even a competition? It's literally just a competition between these two. I'm sorry. MHA, not in the running. Black Clover, not in the running. Dr. Stone, it's only because of Boichi's art. Boichi's art is kind of crazy, but still, that's more an art thing versus an action thing. Not in the running. That, I don't know. Maybe I have not read all New Gen. Don't get me wrong. I have not simultaneously consumed all New Gen, but at least for me, based on what I've read, even with Chainsaw Man has really good action too. Gege's just different. Suzuki-sensei's just different. And we see that Maki and Itadori launch in, but we see the difference just inherently between Maki and Itadori when it comes to the threat level to Maguna. Because Maguna actually goes out of his way to block Maki's kick. Like, he raises up his left arm and guards. Meanwhile, he doesn't even let Itadori get a hit in before with his right hand, he just smack. Like, it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy to show how different the Heavenly Restricted duo is. Like, 15-figure Maguna's out here saying, like, wait a minute, let me not. Versus Itadori, and he just straight backhands him. Like, y'all ever been backhanded before? I haven't. Please don't try to. I do not want to get backhanded. But, like, if you've ever been backhanded before, let me know. Because, jeez, like, it crunches Itadori's head. It makes such a visceral sound. I cannot wait to see this animated. Especially by, Mappa. I feel so bad for you. That is such a tortured animation studio. But, man, make it look good. And we do get to see that with this being the case, with Maki being blocked, Maguna instantly starts focusing on her. Like, that knockback of Itadori kind of just took him out of the fight a little bit. And we get a little bit of Maki versus Maguna hand to hand. And we see that Maki actually has just general relative skill to Maguna, and seemingly enough, better speed, or at least relative speed. Because Maguna swings, but Megami I just said Maguna and Megami. Maguna swings, but Maki catches it between her hands, grabs his fist in between the hands, and then pulls him in to elbow him. That is a crazy level of movement. You can even see Maguna's smile is gone. Like, legit, it's just straight gone. Brody was laughing and giggling and clicking his heels like a little schoolgirl back when he was fighting Itadori. But now that he's throwing hands with Maki, with Herthy Herner, something's different. Like, he's straight looking on like, wait a minute, what is happening? And Maki decks Brody in the schnoz. Like, not in the schnoz, but in the side of his face. Boom. And then she instantly, like, I've seen that move before. I forget where I've seen that move, but where you, like, pull your hands back and just boom, bonker somebody. That is I love how forceful Maki is. And notably, this is all just hands. The katana has not left her waist. She is still just casually vibing out with pure hand and is dogging on Maguna. Maguna did manage to block the push just a bit, but still, the fact that Maki, while presumably still suppressed, like, she, as much as I'm talking about Maki not necessarily caring too much for Megami, she's not using the katana. And she even proves later on that she's a bit hesitant to use it. She's not going full on, and she's still casually manhandling Maguna like this. That is bonkers. The Heavenly Restricted duo is something else. And we do get to see that Itadori is not letting that man breathe. Because as Maguna got punted through a fence by Maki, Itadori immediately binds the fence around Maguna. And I feel so bad for Itadori, dog, bro. Because the moment he did this, the moment he caught Maguna in a trap, Maguna's like, you really are so boring. And like, Maguna, what do you want him to do, dog? Like, legit, how do you expect him? Though, admittedly, I wonder what kind of damage a Black Flash would do to Maguna right now. Like, giving Itadori that multiplier with his current level of output. If you were to really deck Maguna in the snoz with a Black Flash, I wonder what that would be like. However, with that being the case, Maguna does get up the "you're so boring" sentence, but Maki is not playing no games. She immediately punts that bad boy like he a football. However, we do get to see that while they are doing some bits of damage, once again, Sukuna does have some marks on him, he's still casually getting up and moving. And he clunks free of the gate and the fence, and he's just ready to keep it going. And Maki straight up admits, it's a bit strange, seeing he's so good at fistfights with Megami's face. Megami caught a stray there. I don't know what. Like, Megami's a pretty decent hand-to-hand combatant. Like, he's not obviously on Toji level or Itadori level or Maki level, but the fact that Maki kind of just clowns on him, like, yeah, you know, seeing him actually know how to throw hands is kind of wild. And I get it. You know, Megami's not necessarily a hands thrower. He's more of a blade guy himself. And we do get to see Maki's hesitation coming up. Even if he can't die, can he heal wounds from Soul Split Katana? She's not sure if she wants to attack him directly. And that's a big thing, because one of the big issues with like the Jackpot Akari versus the Toji and Maki matchup, specifically Jackpot, Toji and Maki absolutely annihilate base Akari. You cannot convince me of otherwise. I know it to be true. I've seen the Carfax. The Carfax are there. Base Akari gets absolutely annihilated by those two. But the big issue with the other matchup, especially this goes with not just the Jackpot Akari matchup, but the Yuta matchup, the Kenny matchup, pretty much any matchup with the heavily restricted duo against someone who has RCT, is whether or not the RCT user would be able to heal if they were hit by Soul Split Blade. Or, I like Soul Liberation Katana. I think it's cooler than Split Soul Katana. But still, if they can, that makes those matchups a lot more difficult. It essentially makes it so that they can never really put Akari down, because Akari would just keep regenerating, as long as they don't, go for his head. But if that's not the case, and people can just be taken out by that, I see why Maki's worried. Because essentially, if she uses Soul Split Katana on him, then even if they get Megami back, he may not be able to have an arm. He may not be able to have a leg or anything. Like, maybe Yuta wouldn't even be able to heal him because of the loss of the soul. And with the whole debate we had earlier, not debate, but the discussion that Mahito and Kenny had earlier about, like, what comes first, what's intertwined, the body or the soul, then hypothetically, by permanently damaging the soul, you may just permanently damage the body. And Maki's a little bit hesitant to do that, which is very nice of Maki. She's still a kind soul very deep down. I've seen a lot of people, myself included, saying that Maki seems a little bit too heartless at times, but no, you can obviously tell she still cares, she still worries, she's still a human being. She's just become a lot more free, a lot more liberated, if you will. However, with that being the case, I do wonder, like, what would happen if they attacked Maguna right now with Soul Liberation Blade? Because technically there are two souls to attack at once. Like, it's Megami's body. Megami's soul is still in there, but it's specifically Sukuna's soul right now, right? So, like, are they overlapped? Are they merged? We know they aren't, like, fully properly merged, because Maguna could leave Itadori in the first place despite literally spending months upon months inside of him. So their souls are still two autonomous things, presumably, especially after such a short time in Megami's body. But I wonder what she would hit. Like, would she hit both of them at the same time? Are their souls literally just, like, overlapping each other slightly? Like, weird analogy. I've been using Procreate a whole lot more. But, like, if I ever want to thicken something slightly, but I don't want to do it too much, what I'll do is I'll duplicate the layer and shift the layer just a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, up, down, left, or right, whatever, depending on how I want it, because that'll make the lines thicker, but there are still two layers there now. You usually just can't see it, but there are two layers. So I wonder if that's how Megami and Sukuna's situation is right now, where if Maki were to swing, she would hit both layers at the same time, and or if it's one, like, interfused thing. I'm leaning towards the two layers theory, but I believe that's still an issue for Maki to use the katana on, because if she uses it, she's still going to be hitting Megami even if she hits Sukuna. However, we do get to see that even with this concern from Maki, she's like, Yuji, our goal is to stop that, even if it means slaying him, right? And Itadori's like, yeah, mind if I speed things up? Yo, I ain't gonna lie, maybe just like the guy in me that loves speedy characters. I love my speed demons in anime, manga, really any piece of fiction ever. But that is one of the most metal things one can say. Like, that just straight up implies that Maki's like, yo, no lie, dog, I'm holding back because you're here. Unless you don't got any more in the tank, you may need to step out, because I want to speed up. So you mind stepping away? And Itadori has one of my favorite responses ever, too. Nope. So that implies that both of them, to some degree or another, were still holding back. which is crazy to think about, right? Like, at least in terms of holding back their physicals. Obviously, they are resolved to slay him here, but still, the fact that both of them, just because of their lack of general knowledge about each other's, like, new peak states, obviously, Itadori has not seen Awakened Maki in action, and Maki hasn't seen this seemingly awakened Itadori in action properly. So they both just have such a mysterious context around each other despite being allies, that they just need to make sure, like, can you hold up? Can you stay with this? Like, are you really about that life? And they're both like, yeah, we are in fact about that life. And we see Maguna grin once again as they lunge in. And I love this panel in particular. I love how Maguna and Maki both lunge in mirroring poses to each other. Meanwhile, Itadori kind of just throws himself. Like, legitimately, bro moves in with, like, the least form possible. He's just leaped off the ground. I wish we could see more of that, like, building destroying effects that he has. Like, he just is so deep into what he's doing that, like, there's just collateral damage everywhere. And you have even more of the, like, the chaotic contrast with the controlled Megami and literally controlled Megami and Maki. I wish we could see a bit more of that, but it doesn't matter that we don't get to see that, because we get one of my favorite things, like, ever in terms of all the jump fests we had. We literally see that as they're lunging in, Maki reaches out, and, like, they didn't communicate this. This was not anywhere in the plan, but dog, they are so well built as two people who constantly relied on their physicals and hands to hands that they didn't even think about it. Maki does a flip, lands back, plants her right foot down, and reaches out, catching Maguna off guard as she takes her hand and wraps it around Itadori's ankle and swings him like a weapon, dog. Like, bro, I'm not gonna lie. If I was, like, in a combat series or in a combat manga, and I knew my friend or my comrade was, like, durable enough, I would definitely be doing some dumb stuff like this. Like straight up, I would throw people at people. Like, in my Omnitrix playlist video, you can go check that out. If I ever, like, went into a form and I had Echo clones out, dog, they're transforming into weapons. Like, I will straight up make a diamond head clone of me into a way big size sword and throw it at somebody else. That's what I'm talking about. I love the kind of energy, the creativity that Gege has when it comes to the physicality. And we see that she doesn't just, like, swing Itadori as a precise blade. He essentially turns into, like, a scythe, because he uses his fists and the momentum from Maki swinging him to get Sukuna right in the ribcage, right beneath there. However, we do get to see that Maki and Itadori using their Wamo combo doesn't last too long because they both go in. However, we do get to see, despite Sukuna believing that Itadori would be pretty easy to take out, he does actually start blocking both of them. He doesn't just casually one-tap Itadori's jaw like he did before. He doesn't glass jaw him, and he's forced to use both hands in order to combat Maki and Yuji, which, once again, is crazy. We know his physical movement speed is unhindered here. He's moving as fast as he reasonably can, and Maki and Itadori, sure, they are admittedly getting, like, 1v2'd right now, but still, while both are just using physicals, they're pressing Maguna a bit. And we see that Maguna is in such a press situation that he's like, okay, obviously, this is not going to work out if I keep doing it like this. This body resists me entirely and drops curse energy output when I'm hurting the allies. So, I just won't attack the allies. And he uses Cleave Spiderweb to immediately tear the building apart. The building that they're standing on absolutely shatters, and everything begins to fall apart. And Maguna, knowing the real threat here, which is crazy to think about, knowing the real threat here, swings with a malicious right hook on Maki. But Maki just... that it? All you got? And I love the look she gives him here. It's not necessarily anger, it's not sadness, it's not confusion or anything. It's just indignancy. Like, she's looking on like, you really did that? You really did that? Like, dog, what is wrong with you? She just looks so mad. She's just, but not like mad in the angry sense, but mad in like, dude, what the heck? Like, the way she just hits with the patooey and looks at him, it's like that dude who stole your last French fry. Like, you aren't gonna fist fight him, but you'll look annoyed enough too. I love the look that Gege gives her here. And we see Sukuna, once again, is just really impressed. He even goes, wow, nice. And I love the way everyone moves. Like, as the debris is falling down from the sky, they all just leap from place to place, debris to debris, and land on the ground. However, it seems accidentally Sukuna put himself in a really favorable position, because as they land and separate, beginning to run the 1v2 again, Sukuna notices, oh, look who's here. And both Maki and Itadori notice that there's a a certain gremlin lurking about down the street. And we get maximum output, Frost Calm. And geez, like, Uraume something else. We don't get to see them too often, but whatever they do, they show out. They show out. Golly gee willikers. She like freezes a whole chunk of the building, a majority of the street. That is crazy. I know it's her maximum output, but still, that's a bit bonkers. And we do get to see that with this, Sukuna is just laughing his cheeks off. He's like, wow, I love this view. And we see that Uraume, you know, intervening on a battle is like, I offer my apologies, my deepest ones, for intervening. And Sukuna's like, whatever. It's fine. They were cool, especially that girl. You know, she had the gains on her. I ain't gonna lie to you, but it don't really matter. And we see that Uraume, you know, under the assumption that Itadori may still have some importance to him, is like, by the way, do not worry. I made sure not to freeze Yuji Itadori too deeply. But Sukuna's like, couldn't care less. Does not matter at all. I'm done with him, so couldn't care. It was right to focus on that girl, though. She's about that life. She's about that action. I can respect her hustle. And we do get to see that Sukuna's like, I need to polish up this form. Prepare the bath. And he summons Nue. However, this Nue is drastically smaller than before, so seemingly enough, Megumi's resistance can go even when he's not necessarily harming anybody. This Nue is just barely big enough to carry, well, not barely, but it's big enough to only carry Uraume and Sukuna, when previously it was literally towering over an entire building. And we do get to see that Uraume is like, the bath is already prepared and will require a short journey. And we see Sukuna's like, oh, man. That's why I blew your back out 1,000 years ago. You always attend to every detail. And Uraume reminded of the... Can I make that joke? It's too late. I'm keeping it in. But regardless, we do get to see that Uraume is super happy that they got praised. Just like Ness, another meat muncher. However, we do get to see that Itadori does break free of the ice, no problem. And he lunges out. And he goes, Sukuna! But as Uraume asks, you want me to just execute him? I can do it right here, right now. Sukuna's like, nah. Wait. Look. He's hilarious, bro. Look at his face. Look at this dude. Look at the top of his head. And we do see the top of Itadori's head as he does scream in agony and hatred for the fact that the one person who ruined his life more than anyone else is currently escaping with the body of the one person he did so much for. And we see that Sukuna's comparing him to the Harima statue, and Uraume recognizes it as like, yep, around the mouth. And the two laugh off into the sunset as they ride Nue away. And the chapter's over. Seemingly enough, no break next week, which is... rubbing my hands together, you know, I'm getting all giddy. No break, but overall, the chapter, 12 out of 10. 12 out of 10. Obviously, the chapter has a whole bunch of setup in it. Like, beyond a shadow of a doubt, you have the setup that Kenjaku is off moving somewhere, likely with Tengen's body, and we already know the merger has started, so he's planning something else. We still don't know the entirety of Kenny's plan, so Kenny's off doing stuff. We obviously have the setup of Maki and Itadori now being the new duo, now that Megumi's gone and being taken away. We have the setup that Sukuna's going to go to the bath and get this body finalized, so we may actually have a resurrection of Prime Sukuna. This is crazy, all this is bonkers, and obviously the action, the chapter is really, really good. Seeing the two characters who are literally hands incarnate go up against the guy who also likes to be hands, even though he's not hands incarnate, really, really good. I love the combo moves here. I love Maki throwing Itadori, obviously, seeing the new applications for cleave, seeing Maki tank hits from Sukuna, seeing Uraume use their maximum output. All this stuff in the chapter is really, really good. And I will have to admit, I think Sukuna made a mistake because they still have the back of the prison realm, Sukuna. And, like, Angel's still nearby. She did go splat, but who's to say Angel does not have RCT? And who's to say that now that they know you're around and you're off doing dumb stuff, that they will not open the box? I think Gojo's coming back, people. Mainly because everything is set up here now. With Maki and Itadori essentially having no other options. They may not even know where to go find Sukuna now to go get the bath, to do what needs to be done. So they're stuck out of luck there, but they have every single piece that they need to release Gojo. All they need to make sure is that Hana's still okay. And worst comes to worst, they call up Yuta. Yuta heals Hana if she doesn't have RCT. And then Hana opens the box. And then Gojo's out. And then we're really set up for a final big super battle jump fest like the one I kind of was expecting that we were going to get here. So overall, a W chapter, W foreshadowing, W possibilities. I'm very, very excited, and I think the time is almost upon us. However, that's what I think. Please let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure the little notifications bells to miss out on any videos that come with the channel. Also, I do a Patreon below. Use what result as one download, and exclusive videos, early content, and more. Also, now become a member of the channel for as little as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Now, thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dagger the Pencil, writing off.